Cheap and Clean Art Lesson. My name is Marianne Strimsterfer, but you can call me Mrs. Strim. So what's easy, cheap, and clean? Easy means that anybody of any skill level will be able to make this project. Cheap means you probably have the materials around your house already. If you're a teacher, I'm sure you have them in the classroom, but if you don't, you can purchase anything that you need at your local dollar store. Clean means we're not going to make any mess. Well, just maybe a little, but not very much. So, let's get started. Today we're going to be focusing on origami, the Japanese art of paper folding, and paisenki, the Ukrainian art of decorating Easter eggs. Here's a picture of a bunch of Ukrainian paisenki that you can we'll take a look at earlier. You can find this on the internet. And we will be looking at how to decorate eggs in that manner, which is not just for Easter anymore. So let's go ahead and look at what we are going to need to make the different projects today that you see here. So we'll put these up and out of the way. Oops, I'm losing parts of my flowers. And we'll look at the materials that you're going to need. You're going to have a set of markers and a set of crayons. Easy, cheap, and clean means you have these materials hopefully at your house. Some glue of some kind, one or the other. You don't need a lot of it, but just a little bit, and you may not need it all. You're going to have a scissors and a pencil, and you're going to need some water with a brush or a Q-tip, one of the two. And then you're going to need several different kinds of papers. So you don't have to have all of these, but if you have some of them, that would be great. The first kind are index cards, and we'll need these because they're a little stronger than paper, index of one color, or in many colors. This is some wrapping paper. You can use it if you want. You don't have to. Any kind of wrapping paper. One side has got the little blue stuff on it. Doesn't have to have that either. You need a piece of computer paper, and I have some scrap paper in here, and some construction paper, which you can use if you have it. Any of these kinds of papers, hopefully you have something at your house that you can use. The first thing we're going to do now is to take a look at the main object that we're going to make from origami, and that is a paper cup. So let's move everything out of our work area and get ready to make the cup. So the cup is first of all, we're going to have to make sure that we have a square piece of paper. So I have a rectangle right here, and what I want to do is to cut it into a square. So this is the way that you make a square out of a rectangle. I'm going to take this corner down here, and I'm going to place this edge, this short edge, on the long edge, and I'm going to try to align it so that this corner is just here. And I'm going to make just kind of a soft fold, and then use my pencil to draw a line. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. If you think you can just cut it without pencil drawing, that's fine. I'm going to open it up, take my scissors, and cut this edge off. When you cut this little piece off, you're going to save it because you will need it later. So don't discard this yet. We'll put it to the side, and now we're going to be doing some folding. The first fold, fortunately, is that same fold we already used. So we're going to put this point up here and these together and make a nice crease. And I can do that with my thumbnail or fingernail, or if you don't want to do that, I use the edge of a scissors because you have that at hand. And you can make that nice crease. So you can see that this is open at the end, and that I put away from me, and these two corners are here. Now the paper cup is one of the most basic of all origami shapes, and we are going to take and put a little dot on this side. Sometimes a dot helps us visualize what we want to do. So here's that dot, put it there, and then I'm going to move this corner over to that dot. And the dot is a little bit more than halfway up. I could have gone halfway, but it's a little low if I do that. But now is where I'm going to maneuver and see where this should be. Did I have it a little high? I did. So I'm going to move it underneath here. Then I'm going to make the crease right here. that's my second fold. Now I'm going to take this one and this corner and put it over on this edge right here. So this is how we do it. A typical mistake to make is people go like this. You don't want to do that, even though it seems like it's right, it is not. What I want to do is to line this edge with this straight edge. So I want to come straight across and try to get to that edge. Sometimes you make it to this corner, sometimes you don't. So now I fold this one, give it a nice crease. Okay, so basically here's the basic shape of it, and these things kind of flop around. So in origami, we like to not use glue. We like to use folds to hold things in place. So here we go. We're going to bring this fold down, very simple, give it a little crease, and now it holds all of that in place. Do you see? But I don't want this up because it doesn't look much like a cup if I do that. So I'm going to take this side and fold it back this way. Now the reason it's called a paper cup is because you put something in a cup. And so in this case, I'm going to show you the original use for these cups, and that was to hold some water so I could take a drink out of it. So I have a little cup of water. I'm going to pour some of it in. And I want you to notice that nothing leaks out of here. Now, don't do this with anything but a clean piece of paper, especially if you're going to drink out of it. But I'm just going to pour mine back into this water right here, get that out of the way. You can see that it's wet now. I could use it again once it's dry. You don't want to be decorating this cup while it's wet. You could decorate it beforehand, but don't use anything except a crayon and only on the outside. If you use marker, you will have colored water in there, and I don't think I'd want to drink that. So this is the paper cup. From the paper cup, I'm going to be making some other objects. This is the paper cup, and this time I made it out of this pretty wrapping paper, and then I put a name on it. And then I've got this one that is a basket, which we'll show you how to make. And then this one, which is a Paisanki egg. So we're going to see how to make these. With this one, I put a little name on it because I wanted to use it as a place card at a fancy dinner. So I just put Mom's name on it. And inside, I could put some candy, some jelly beans, maybe some little party favors, something that I might have, trinkets of some one sort or another, maybe a piece of some earrings for Mom or a bracelet. It can be used as something to wrap a small present with. You can always do that and fold this little part inside and it would hold it down. So here's what we have for uses for the paper cup besides drinking water out of. And now we're going to take a look at this one. And this one is a little basket. So the basket, in this case, I have some flowers from my garden, and I made a Paisanki front on it, which we'll show you how to do in a minute. But how do you make this handle? There is an easy way to make it, and I'm going to show you how. Sometimes when we have a project, especially origami, and you fold in a hurry, it takes a while for people to get it. So I'm going to do it again. So I'll fold this one in half again from corner to corner, making my creases. Take this corner and go over to this edge. I'm estimating this time rather than making the dot. Folding it down using my fingernail to crease, and then take this corner, make the edges align or line up to each other, and go like this. Now, I can make it a double handle, or I can go ahead and hold it down with this flap, which is what I think I want to do. So I still have my opening. But now I'm going to turn it over to what's considered the front side because it's all plain, has no folds on it. And I'm going to cut inside of this triangular handle. So I could draw it if I wanted to, or I could do something like this. So I'm going to soft fold it to the side. I'm going to turn it over because I'm right-handed instead of left-handed. And I'm going to look at this part right here that I want the opening. So I will make a little pencil drawing to help me out. I can make it curved, I can make it straight, however I'd like. And then I'm going to use the scissors, holding that soft fold, being careful not to cut into the cup, and go like this. And I'm going to make a triangle shape, and pull that out, and when I open it up, I have a handle. So now is the handle of my little origami cup. Now I have made it into a basket. So using these objects, these two different kinds of origami cups, I'm going to show you how you can put them together to make this egg. So I've got my two cups. This one has this edge on it, and that's in the front, and the other one has the handle. So what I did was I used crayon and I pressed very hard to make these decorations. And then I folded this one inside here. And if you wanted to make it an egg, you would take your glue, put glue all on this flap, and then stick it inside and hold it down for a little while, and then it will be together. But you're saying, you know what, Mrs. Strem, this doesn't look very much like an egg. So what you can do is you can take these corners and start to fold them under so that eventually you will have the shape of an egg, which you can add to maybe a drawing that you've done and you wanted a big extra egg that looked three-dimensional. Or if you wanted to tape some on the walls or on the mirrors or the glass of pictures around your house to decorate for Easter. This is also done with a Pysanky design on it, and what we have is these Pysanky eggs that I'm going to show you a little bit more about their decoration. And when we do that, we're going to do them just on plain the lightweight cardboard that I showed you, which are really index cards. So you can find these on the internet too. There's lots and lots of different designs. And this particular one, the artist liked to make a lot of flowers. So this one's more stripes and zigzags and circles, but we're going to make one with flowers in it. So we'll take a look at these, put these aside. One of the things that we could do with our Pysanky eggs that we're going to make, I can show you some that I've made already, and you can take those and use these as an Easter basket. So you can put these eggs into, which I didn't really talk to you about before, but this is another use for the paper cup. You can make little Easter baskets. If you wanted to make a different kind of a handle on here, you could do that as well. So here we go. Let's take a look at some Pysanky eggs. So we're going to take just a plain piece of index card. You see its lines on one side and plain on the other, but it's a little firmer than some papers that we have. So I'm going to take this and make the egg with my pencil, just a light drawing. And you want to have it fatter at one end. I think I'll make it a little shorter because it's kind of a big egg. And then you have the basic shape of an egg. I'm going to take my crayons at this point and get my muscles ready because I'm going to have to really color hard. And I'm going to take out my magic crayon white, which you'll find out what that does later. I think some orange, maybe a little green, and I like yellow. So that works, and well, let's go with these colors. So we've got these going. Maybe I want blue. All right, so this is a purpley blue. I'm not sure what color it is, but we're going to start out by using the white to make some centers of flowers. I've got one here and one here, and you can't even see it, can you? Well, that's okay because you're going to see it later on. And then I'm going to circle it just so I'm not exactly sure where I put this one. So let's see if I hope I hit it. And if I didn't, that's okay. Art's not perfect. We like to make things that are beautiful, and perfect isn't always beautiful. So I'm going to make these flowers. Those are centers, and I just make any kind of a flower I want. Doesn't have to look like a flower that's in nature, but you can make a design instead. So here we go. And I think I'm going to make right through the middle. I want to make some of these flowers like the ones that I have in my yard. So I'm going to make a green stem going this way. Oops, just broke that crayon. It doesn't make any difference. It's green all the way down. That never bothers me. Maybe it bothers you, but it doesn't bother me. So I'm going to make a cross section here, and now I'm going to make these little dots on this little flower that grows in my yard. I don't know what the name of it is, but it comes out in the spring. So there's my flower. I've got that. I think I'll make a stripe down here, maybe a stripe up here, using the yellow, making some pretty lines coming down here. And now I'm making my Easter egg. Now, if you have Easter eggs at home and your mom says, what are we going to do with all these eggs? Instead of making that kind of an egg, you can make a Paisanki egg, and then you won't have to eat them, but you'll have them as a decoration. So now we have our egg, but we need to watercolor it, or maybe give it a beautiful background. So what I'm going to do is to remember, if you remember that piece of paper that we had that I told you that you needed to keep. Let's get our eggs out here so you can see some of them. And this is that piece of paper. So I'm going to fold that piece of paper in half. So I don't want to make a mess. Remember, this is an easy, cheap, and clean project. I'm going to get my markers over here. And then I'm going to choose a color of marker that I think would be a nice background for this. So I've got a pink egg, a blue egg, and a green egg. Let's see, how about a purple egg? So I'm going to take purple and make a bunch of purple in kind of like a pool right here on that piece of paper. I didn't want it to go through onto my table, so that's why I folded it in half. Now I'm going to take either a Q-tip if you don't have a brush, and I'm going to paint this. So you're saying paint it, how are you going to paint it? Well, this is how that goes. I'm going to take this and get this nice and wet, and then I have purple paint to put on here. This takes a little bit longer with the Q-tip, so if you have a brush, use your brush. Does the same thing. And what I'm going to do is put the purple all over my egg. Like so. There we go. And now I have a Paisanki egg. This is a wax resist process. When they use the beeswax on the Paisanki eggs, they color the egg and then cut through the beeswax or carve through it. And that's what the word Paisanki means, is to carve. So I did it a different way. I did it on paper. I used the wax first and then put the color on top. So it is like a Paisanki egg. You can make many, 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 many decorations. Oops, I do have a little bit of a mess when the water went through, so I'll clean that up. Cut my egg out, and now I have another Paisanki egg to add to my collection. You saw the big collection that I showed you earlier on the internet, and you can find whatever kind you like. I think I'm going to make them a little bit shorter right here, and now I have a Paisanki egg. So thank you so much for joining me today with another easy, cheap, and clean project. Remember origami, remember the Japanese art of origami paper folding, the paper cup, and also Paisanki, the Ukrainian art of coloring eggs. Thank you very much, and keep your heart in art.